I've been asked by Valour Canada to explain what a Canadian soldier would need to go into battle at Vimy in April 1917. I suppose people might think, you know, uniform and a gun. It's more complex than that. Let's start at the bottom and work up. Basically, it's going to need a pair of drawers. In this case, a pair of short johns. Long johns often worn in winter, but in this case we've got then a real pair, adjustable in the back with a drawstring, and two rather mysterious items at the front, which are two loops, which I think will perplex people. We'll come back to that in a minute. So our soldier is now at least decent in mixed company. He's going to be wearing then what we Brits call a vest, otherwise an undershirt. Long sleeves, very thick, keeps you nice and warm. With that then a shirt. The issue shirt is grey flannel, but very often people got shirts sent from home. The key thing about the shirt is it doesn't have a collar, because only officers wear collar and tie. Other ranks, private soldiers, they have a closed collar. You don't need to worry about having anything round there. Next, a pair of socks. Khaki in this case. Khaki, a bit of a mysterious word. People sometimes call it khaki. It is khaki. It's a real word. It's Indian, Urdu, and it means dusty. Developed by the British Army in India. What comes next? Well, a pair of what we call trousers, might otherwise be called pants, worn with, well, we call them braces, you call them suspenders. But those two loops there, one on each side, two on each side, is their clue to how you're wearing your pants. Basically, what you've got is loops that go through there. So a bit like Superman, your hero great-granddad or granddad going over the top on the 1st of July, basically is wearing his underwear outside his shirt, held up by means of his suspenders. Not what you'd imagine, but remember, with no elastic, really going into battle with fixed bayonet, with this lot basically round the bottom of your trousers, would not be very comfortable. What's next? Well, a pair of boots. Those boots shod with steel, known as ammunition boots. Sized, made for you, you make sure they fit, but they're made with the leather the wrong way round. There's no shiny side outside. Why? Because you want it to absorb fat, dubbing, and the bottom of the boots, so you keep your feet dry. And to ensure that your feet remain absolutely dry, you put on a pair of these things. They're called puttees. Nothing else. They're not called wraps, they're called puttees. Why are they called puttees? Because it's an Indian word, wait for it, that actually means bandages. Developed in India as a way of supporting your legs on the march, closing the top of your boots, stopping mud and dirt getting inside them. So we've now got a fully dressed soldier, apart from the next item, which is here, which is going to be his tunic. This is then a Canadian tunic. It's got the words Canada on the shoulder. We know from this insignia he's a trained scout. His background might well have been in hunting, or he might actually have been a Boy Scout, but he will scout ahead of his unit. And up here on the collar would then be the unit insignia, either his battalion or regiment in the Canadian Army. What comes next? Well, let's keep it simple. Let's give him a handkerchief. Now, my handkerchief, when I use one, is white. So why do they give soldiers a khaki handkerchief? The answer is, the battle's going really badly, I'd like to surrender. I can signal surrender by waving a white handkerchief. If I wave a khaki one, frankly, it means nothing. It's simply to stop you surrendering, or more importantly, standing in your trench in the full sight of a sniper who can't quite work you out. You've got a bit of a cold, put a white handkerchief up and blow it, get your head blown off. So khaki makes sense. What's next? Well, your food and your means of cooking, your mess tins. This is the lid, this is the main body, and here you've got a little frying pan, and you've got a means of heating up water. Remarkably, even British soldiers get coffee as well as tea. And here I have, specially made for soldiers, sugar at one end, tea at the other, and that will be loose tea. Your main food is corned beef combined with biscuit, and this bag here would have in it cheese, bacon, biscuit, bit of a horrid mess, but that would give you your means of making a stew, your means of making your breakfast. To help you do that, you have a jackknife. Why is it called a jackknife? Well, it's called a jackknife because the nickname of the British soldier is Tommy Atkins. Nickname of a sailor is Jack Tar. And these were developed for sailors to help them put together rigging. But for a soldier, you've got a thing here called a marlin spike. You can make holes in tins. You could also then cut things up. And here, difficult to open, you have a tin opener because clearly you've got tins. And you would have with this one condensed milk, jam, lots of other things. How do you cook anything? Nickname of the British soldier we've established is Tommy Atkins. Then you have the Tommy cooker, basically a liquid gel of petroleum. You light that and you can cook on top. You can boil tea, you can make up something to have a shave. Why do you need to shave? Why do you need to wash? Hygiene, very, very important. Also because that way your gas mask fits. Otherwise it doesn't. You've got designer stubble, you're going to die in a gas attack. And in your holdall, you're going to have your shaving brush, your shaving soap. You're going to have a spoon, a toothbrush, a fork, a razor, a cutthroat razor, a knife, a mystery item. We'll come to that in a minute. Going to have your shaving stick, obviously, combined with your soap and your tooth powder, not toothpaste. You've got a spare pair of bootlaces because remarkably you can't on the Battle of Vimy say, excuse me, my bootlace have broken, can I have a new one? You carry a spare one. And then you have what's called remarkably the hussif, the housewife. Why is it called a housewife? It's because of your sewing. So if your button comes off, if you're made a corporal, you just saw your stripes on, that's what you do. And all of that is in your holdall. You then get a towel. This one is white. Yes, I know, we've mentioned the khaki. It's white because you're not actually going to be having a wash and a shave in full view of the enemy. You're going to do that in your trench, and it shows just how dirty you are. With it, you get your emergency rations, and that will combine biscuit, corned beef, and chocolate, just in case the food runs out. With that, you're going to have a mug for tea or coffee. Yes, even the Brits drink coffee. With it, you get your ID tag. On here is your name, your rank, your religion, your number, your regiment. Initially, just one, but by the time of the Battle of Vimy, two. The idea being that one stays on the dead body if everything goes wrong. That one is cut off so the family know that you're dead. And by the way, the Canadian Army can stop paying you. Obviously then, we've got this item. What's this? This is your paybook. In your paybook is everything about you, your inoculations, your qualifications. And all being well, you have in here some postcards, photograph of your wife, your girlfriend, some soldiers, both, you've got the idea, all in here. And that means that you're almost ready to go into action, with one exception. When you come off the battlefield, you have to be a clean soldier, which is my mystery object. The mystery object is a button stick that is used behind your brass buttons to shine them up without getting polish all over your uniforms. So you would have thought, well, that's quite a lot of kit. Isn't that it? Guess what? We've got the same amount of kit still to go. So let's move over to my left, your right, and see what else you need before you go over the top on the 9th of April.